Listen up, losers. This is the Fake Podcast, brought to you by Hive Analytics, Episode 2.
Price to market. Here we are today. My name is Kat Banstra. I am the Business Development Manager for Hive Analytics and the moderator for this podcast. I'm joined by George Lawton, our Operations Director, and James Kurtenbach, our CEO, founder, and mastermind behind everything. Let's get started, shall we?
Let's get started.
All right. So we're talking about price to market and price badges today. And it all kind of started with CarGurus, right? And we're super judgmental people. We love to judge, but marketplaces, formerly known as third parties by us, takes it to a whole new industrial scale level. And depending upon what marketplace you're syndicating your inventory to and how you're pricing them, and these colorful anecdotes can mean the difference between thousands of views on a vehicle or absolutely none at all, right? So we're going to kind of talk about that and how Hive Analytics is using that. Now, most of the automotive community is using vAuto to give insights about pricing and inventory. So I'm going to ask James, what are your sentiments on that?
I think vAuto is like the most indispensable tool if you're in kind of a used car capacity, right? But I think the air of caution we're trying to evangelize people to is you also need to price in context of what your customers are looking at, right? And there's the people, there's a little bit of mismatch because vAuto is a Cox product, and one would assume that a lot of their data is based on Cox data. But what we know, if you're paying attention to your CRM, we can help you do that, by the way, in Hive. But if you're paying attention, you see that a lot of consumers are using Carfax, CarGurus, Cars.com a little bit more than Auto Trader at the moment. Now, these guys always kind of change in terms of market leadership, but I think it's clear right now who the leaders are, but we don't always price in context what our customers are looking at. So I think we're kind of missing out, if you will. Maybe scratching our heads on why our price changes might not be having the influence that we want, when there is really good data to uncover and see how we can play this game better, right? How we can have better visibility into where we're priced, how it's badged, and make better decisions faster.
Yeah. It's all about that strategy.
Yep, for sure.
And I think there was actually a poll recently about what people's favorite, what their favorite badging system is.
Was that poll real or fake?
No, that was a fake poll.
That was fake. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
I'm
real
getting
fake
something.
poll.
Oh no, this live from HNN, Hive News Network. The fake poll. The data's in.
Data's in. Bear with me.
What do we
got? We've got some other maybe glimpse into the future there, some future episodes.
I know.
We'll leave that in. So we got some fake. We got some fake data here that's very compelling, though. We have.
Wait, we got to explain the poll.
We are, yeah. We're going to explain the poll. That's a very good point. The first thing you got to understand about this fake poll is this is the sentiment of how people think about the badging.
Yeah.
So the sentiment from the dealer community that is completely fake, but you could probably relate to, is Cars.com is the leader in badging. We have Carfax coming in, strong number 2, and then we have a huge disparity.
Yeah.
Carsforsale.com, again, the write-in ballots, we got to give them credit. There's a lot of people, 11 fans
11
total.
Strong fans
that are very, very, vocal about this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Auto Trader at a 10. We're going to dive into why that is. I think we know why. CarGurus, I don't know how they did it, but the dealer community came together and actually gave them a negative value. So collectively. Wasn't even a capability on the fake poll, but they came in at a negative 2,500. So we'll dive into that too, on why that is.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's because CarGurus has the most influential badging system. Yeah. There's more people on CarGurus shopping for cars. CarGurus is the number one leader in volume of opportunities in the CRM, and they have no shame in their game. They are extremely judgmental when it comes to how they want to badge your inventory based on its pricing. But they take a lot of data from all over the country in competitive segments to come up with their badging system. So there is an algorithm and there is a method to their madness. However, they have some gaps in the way that they look at things. They look at kind of somewhat an incomplete data set from what we've determined here. For example, especially when you get into the luxury segment, when they look at 3 Series, whether you have a base model 3 Series or in a 3 M Sport package, which that M Sport package could add tens of $1,000s of value to the price of the car when it's sold new. They don't always take that into consideration when they are putting a price badge on your car. So you may have a car that started off with a much higher price point than a lesser car with a less package, but they don't always take that into consideration when badging.
It's a little bit black box. We don't know all the things that go into the CarGurus algorithm, right? But we do know as dealers that we scratch our heads often going, that is a good price for that car.
Sure.
And the market should know that. And I think that's why we have a conflict with this badging system, where we're at a negative 2,500 in the fake poll.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of our most desirable inventory is not reflected in context of what it is.
Right. And then it ends up buried on page 10 of the search results.
It gets buried. Or, what's I think the most frustrating for dealers, obviously, is this overcoming of objection of CarGurus. This authority says this isn't a good deal. What are you going to do for me?
Sure.
So that's a tough thing to overcome, and I think that's why there's this natural conflict, like we talked about in episode 1.
Yeah.
So,
okay, let's talk about the next shortcomer on this, Auto Trader, right?
Auto Trader.
Auto Trader. I think our perspective is that they have just such a cryptic, badging for their vehicles. Like, it's not easy to understand in any way. Like, it's just cryptic data. So take a look at how this vital data comes through an Insight. Thanks to Auto Trader, it's super helpful. It's just a car that's not there.
Well,
it's
interesting too, because Drake actually chimed in on this topic. He's not really in the car business and pricing cars, but he did comment on the price badging system for the third-party marketplace channels, and this is what he had to say.
I mean, he might have demoed Hive, but we've got we got Hive Marketplace here to just kind of illustrate the difference between. On the top, we got CarGurus.
Okay, so CarGurus is on top.
As judgy as they are, at least we know where our inventory stands, and it's clear and it's lucid, right? And as Drake illustrates here, what do we do with this insights that's coming from Auto Trader? It's not to bash on Auto Trader, but seriously, please get your act together. So when we're trying to evaluate our inventory, we really need to know with clarity, how do you judge our pricing? So that's we got to trust Drake, right?
Yeah.
Token Canadian here.
For sure.
All
.ca.
.ca.
Okay. So I think at this point, we're going to go to our next fake commercial.
Yeah, our next fake commercial.
And then we're going to get into the data, and then we're going to talk about what to do with it and some strategies that we have at the Hive that can help people out.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Howdy. Fake Sam Elliott here for Clickety Clack. The time has come for the automotive professional to retire our Copenhagen long cut, our skull bandits, and all the other nasty garbage we put in our mouth. They are disgusting, and no one wants to see that, smell it, or mistakenly pick up your spitter. Times are changing faster than the velocity of new state and federal tax credits raining down on us from God knows where. Everyone knows I don't love change. I am basically the same guy in every movie from Tombstone to Big Lebowski. But it's time to change how we get our nicotine fix. That's why I go upper deck with Clickety Clack. It's the only nicotine pouch that is infused with caffeine. No more disgusting chew tins, Red Bull cans all over the BBC. Just the soothing effects and endless energy of Clickety Clack. And for my friends at the Hive Analytics Fake Podcast, make sure you tell them Fake Sam Elliott lives in the Moneyball Dash. I like gambling as much as the next guy, but when it comes to distributing my leads, I need those insights. When I get a true car lead on that Ford F-250 dually, it's going to the right sharpshooter based on Hive data to close that deal. When you're feeling a little wiggity whack, reach for a pack of Clickety Clack. Now available in Adderall flavor.
So before we get started on what the data tells us, we do want to remind everybody that there is a nationally accredited contest going on right now for top dealers, top 40 who are slightly over 40. This was born out of necessity because so many of these people who are under 40 take all this credit but there's people slightly over 40 who bring a lot to the industry and are simply get overlooked. It's somewhat ageism, but this is a problem that we need to address, and we're addressing it. So we want to remind everybody that if you know somebody who is slightly over 40 who merits to be in the top 40 slightly over 40 category, please send in your nominations, and we'll make sure we get them recognition.
And it's not just if you're like 41, 42, kind of like
we use the term slightly over 40 pretty loosely.
Yeah.
And that's on purpose, so we can celebrate a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a wide range of age that we're willing to accept here.
But we're also pretty biased to people that kind of just turned 40 too. There's a little bit of jealousy going on, if we're just being honest. So yeah, let's make sure we recognize these people.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, while this podcast is fake, our slightly 40 over 40 is not, and Hive Analytics is also not fake. So we're kind of in the business of evangelizing the automotive community right now in how we want to price to context, right? So we're using these marketplaces and we're trying to make it super easy for people that are on the ground, whether they're, intaking used vehicles or the GSM, whoever's responsible for pricing those vehicles. We're trying to make it simple for everyone. So really what it is, when you get into our dashboards here, it's a click here, a drag there. You can find the cars, and then you can also filter them by where they're falling into these price buckets. And we show you the dollar amount. Super simple. Immediately within like 5 minutes.
There's a lot of people that should care. I think the marketers
Everyone
should care
should
because they're responsible to try to fill the CRM with opportunities, right?
Yeah.
The used car department should definitely care. I think anybody that's in the game of working with price with guests, they should have good visibility on this too, and know that there's a strategy on how this is done.
Sure.
And we're trying to help evangelize people, like you said, give them a strategy, make it easier because, I think if we challenge people to kind of go, what are we doing at Hive? And let's see you replicate that just through number of clicks and time. It's hard to do. It's hard to go to all these sources and figure out how these are being presented in the market. How is this being reflected to the consumers that are using these very powerful platforms? Right. So I think that's important to kind of like understand what Hive Marketplace does. So that's like the side that we do there to try to help people get to this information faster. And so that's one piece, and we want to demo that with you. So, reach out to us and let us show you what that's all about. But let's mostly talk about like what the strategy is, right?
Yeah. And I got to have my little snarky comment here too, but show me that in your spreadsheets. Show me in your spreadsheets.
We see, from what we see, the data is clear. If you are priced in a badge that doesn't show up friendly on the third-party channels, you're going to get fewer opportunities on those cars. And granted, you may get some saves, you may get some leads and clicks on certain cars that aren't badged in desirable pricing. But when you make those changes, which you can do very quickly through Hive Analytics, you'll see the opportunities go up very quickly on those specific units. So this can prevent aging. Another huge advantage to this is you can often find low-hanging fruit cars that you can change the price for a very nominal or minimal amount to get it from one badge into the next. And when you make those changes, everybody who's saved that car on those marketplace channels gets a notification that the price has changed on that car. So not only does it generate more leads in the beginning, but it can help you revive more leads that may have gone cold on you.
And it kind of challenges convention a little bit, right? I think a lot of the strategy when it comes to pricing a car is based on age. So you might not move the price initially, just waiting for it to kind of get some availability in the market, some eyeballs, see if it reacts, see if it resonates. But I'm here to tell you, at least there's an alternate view of it from my perspective, is why not badge it in a good place at the right value fast so it moves faster.
Sure.
And so you validate the customer's sentiment on that vehicle on the pricing badge if it's affordable, right? If it doesn't erode your profitability, then why not just take that action sooner and get it in the right spot faster?
Yep.
So, that might be controversial to some people, but I don't I guess there's no wrong or right answer to it, but it's something that we're trying to bring visibility into so you can see and make those decisions with context. Like you said, Kat,
Yeah.
how many saves does it have? Does it have VDP views? Is it resonating? So you can kind of get that feel, even if it is high priced, the market might already be finding it because it's a desirable vehicle. So you might not change it.
Yeah.
But what we see in the data most of the time is that if a car is priced in a disadvantaged spot, it is getting suppressed. It's
Sure.
not getting the visibility it needs to move. So why not move up that stop clock and make sure that it's going up to the right spot?
Yep.
Yeah.
So price it to where it needs to be priced to get it to move before it ages, and you have to take a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're allowing you to go, is from the macro to the micro.
Mhm.
All right. Any closing thoughts from anyone before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think just kind of going deeper in the strategy if we have a second.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
strategy wise, I think, in terms of the cadence that you should be looking at this stuff probably weekly is kind of what people that have seen it and are far more experienced than us when it comes to pricing vehicles.
Mhm.
They're in there all day, every day, pricing things in Viato or whatever. And,
Right.
kind of mostly doing it on age is the most, influential thing that could cause a price change. But I think once you uncover this data, you could actually slow down the amount of iterations in your pricing because you actually have a little bit more ammo on your side.
Yeah.
So maybe once, twice a week, draw those thresholds. Hey, I'm willing to move my pricing, say $250 to get to the next price badge if it's been on lot for this long, or,
Yeah.
your strategy could be right away if that indicator is showing where it's at. So there's
Sure.
flexibility. It's not like Hive Analytics is telling you what to do with the data. It's giving you the insights so you can deploy the strategy that makes sense for you.
Right.
But
Just actionable.
that's actionable. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, we're trying to dispense knowledge, give some different perspectives on this fake podcast. But that advice is not obviously fake. I think we should always kind of challenge conception or, convention, if you will. Are we doing it the right way? Should we try some new strategies? So we're just trying to give people a lot easier way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, George, I'm going to send it over to you. Tell
Yeah.
the people how they can reach our fake podcast here.
Yeah, well, if you want to send in your fake questions to our fake podcast, you can submit your question through the link below. And for those of you who send us a question, you can get a not so fake sticker pack and a not so fake Hive Analytics hat. And also, please don't forget to send in your favorite nominees who are slightly over 40, and we will make sure they get their recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody. Like, we are exploding in terms of number of people following us and stuff like that.
We are
So-
the fastest growing automotive
Absolutely.
podcast.
So
in the
I think we'll have
universe.
stats on that next time. We're just going to let it kind of mature
I
a
love
bit
mature a
so we
little
look
bit.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for following us. Feel free to reach out and look forward to evangelizing more people.
For sure.
Thank you so much for joining us of episode 2 of the Fake Podcast, Price to Market. See you next time.